How you doing? I first want to congratulate MSD for setting the world record for becoming a Valiant. I believe he spent about 50 hours of gameplay to become Valiant. That is faster than me becoming Paragon. I spent about 60 hours of gameplay, which is pretty crazy. Uh, I don't know for certain how many hours it took him. It could have taken him 60 hours to become Valiant, but very unlikely. So it's probably anywhere between 40 hours to 60 hours. So if you take the average of the two, that's 50 hours of gameplay. So that's what I have him becoming Valiant. So I just want to congratulate him to setting a world record for becoming a Valiant, but there's something, when it comes to MSD's title, they're always misleading. Well, not always, often misleading. So he's using the XP boost to determine how long it took him playing to become Valiant, but that's a complete lie because you cannot get an XP boost when you start playing the game. Okay, and then just prove to you if you don't believe me, as you can see here, when I did my realistic new count road to Valiant challenge, it's already been 11:06 and it's day one. And look, I have no boost whatsoever. Okay, and here he's using the boost as a timer to how long he spent playing uh, um, to become Valiant. So I was gonna brought up, I didn't really care about how many days it took him, but since he brought it up, I'm gonna mention it, even though that I think that's the least important thing is how many days it took you. But I'm bringing it up because it's just very misleading using an XP boost to determine how many days it took you. So if you subtract a week from this, it took him about 4 hours. I mean, 4 days and 16 hours, which is very misleading, as you could see, because you don't get boost when you start playing the game. Um, what else? Yeah, so he does have often misleading title when he says, "Oh, solo necropolis in 5 minutes," when it's really like 5 minutes and 59 seconds, or solo with onslaught in 2.5 2 minutes, and it's like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. You know how big difference the time is? It's like saying it took you 10 hours to do something when it really took you 12 hours to do something. That's pretty much the same comparison. So it's very misleading when he does sometimes he said he does often talk about time, which is I'm just here to call it out. And really more important thing is like how this is going to be very misleading for Kabam. It took him less than 5 days, 5 full days to become Valiant, and Kabam's going to see this. Well, if it takes less than 5 days for somebody to become Valiant, it's going to be, we need to make the next progression even harder. And Kabam has already stated that they don't make the most money from Battlegrounds, so I'm assuming a lot of their money has to be from people progressing the game. So I'm assuming they're gonna make it harder to become Valiant, or the next level, whatever that is. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't. I've never been against about making it challenging. It should be worth a challenge to reach the highest progression, but the only question is how hard, right? And Kabam is a company and they need to make money. I understand that, but this is very misleading. I hope that you know to get to the next level, it's not going to be, as soon as it comes out, it's not going to like take, you know, I don't know how long, but let's say, I think from here I can definitely, first of all, I didn't expect the best players in the world to be able to do it in less than 100 hours, the new level for progression, but from based on this gameplay, it looks like it is definitely possible to reach the new level as a free to play, very important, as a free to play in 100 hours of gameplay as a speed run in less than 100 hours. So, but in realistically, he did mention he had a lot of luck with crystals, but it's a lot morely about skills. He used Guillotine 2099. Most players will not be able to use Guillotine 2099 as good as he does. He's probably going to be better with Guillotine 2099 with a 6-star rank 3 than somebody who's an average, or especially new players that are using 6-star rank 5 SIG 200 Hercules to progress in the game. So That's why I'm just saying it's definitely more of a skill thing for sure, because 99% of players that are new to the game, especially, will not reach Valiant in 100 hours of gameplay. And then for Kabam to see this, it's like, wow, this is, maybe we need to make the next progression harder. So the next, really, I don't know how exactly how it is, but the game has evolved. As far as I know, they increased the reward for Act 5 for completing and exploring. So we'll see how it is now. Could I do it in 100 hours of gameplay? Yes, I could, without a doubt, considering that the game constantly evolves, but I'm not a new player. So I'm not expecting a new player to do the same. There's just so much skill gap between MSD and compared to an average player like myself. Imagine very skilled player like MSD compared to a new player. The gap is just way too much. So, let's say low end, MSD does it in 40 hours. So a new player, you would expect to do it, at least 3 times longer. So 120 hours of gameplay, which is pretty fat. I mean, it's still a long time, you know. Uh, there's no question about it, but 40 hours to become Valiant, let's say, that's probably the low end. That's pretty fast. I know most people say that 40 hours of gameplay to reach the highest level, that's too much time. And I understand most people will never, especially new players, will never spend that much time to hit the highest progression, because when you consider it, 40 hours, that's like a full week, full-time job for a week just to hit the highest level. And I understand most people will not push to that level. But if you're playing 30 minutes a day, 40 hours to reach Valiant, 80 days for 30 minutes a day on average, that's very fast, I think. But then again, that's MSD. That's not for every player in the game. I would say most average new players will probably spend 120 hours to become Valiant. So let's just look at some comments to just justify what's going on or make sense of what's going on. So I already showed you this, and see, he's using this. He didn't show this part right here because he's trying to like pretend, oh, I just started this account. So he's basically using this as a timer to when he started the account. But that's not true, because as you could see here, he already has 4 champions. I only have 3 champions right here, and I don't even have the boost yet. So very misleading title as usual for this guy. Not, gotta call out the BS. And you can see here, some players playing since 2001, 21, Thronebreaker yet. I have alliance like this. They're just like, they've been playing for a long time and they're still Thronebreaker. I understand most, if not a lot of people are like this. Almost 4 months in Lightspender and only Thronebreaker. See, this is what really realistic gameplay is for new players. It just makes sense. And this guy probably feels bad about playing the game since 2021, and even the 4 months new player that spend money in the game. But this is what you expect from new players. It's gonna be like this pretty much, and again, they're not playing like 10 to 12 hours a day either. So it makes sense why they're taking a lot longer to progress in the game. So I know it's MSD boy, but this is another, kind of like what social media has done to the game. I know it's MSD boy, but this is clear to show you can get Valiant extremely easy if you're smart and have enough time. No excuses. I think for me, who's become a Valiant as well as not a new player, I think I can become Valiant. But to say it's easy, like playing the game for 100 hours as a pre to play, that's just silly. 100 hours is a lot of time. So for this guy, probably would thinking to himself, you know, it's like, or even 50 hours. 50 hours, if you're really good at the game, with really good luck, you can become Valiant. But 50 hours, I mean, if you want to start a new account, become Valiant, 50 hours, that's a lot of time for most people. They don't have 50 hours to play this game, you know. So just to start a new account. So I can understand that. Yes, extremely easy. You have to have 10 years of experience. Stop drinking in the morning, old man. It's just so funny. It's not extremely easy for new players. MSD has a lot of experience, so he knows how to play the game extremely well and knows how to. I don't know exactly what it says after that. Let's see. It's not extremely easy for new players. MSD has a lot of experience, so he knows how to play extremely well and knows how to quickly progress. A new player is literally just learning LMAO. I'll take the average player to get Valiant in around a month or two. Uh, as an average player, I can definitely hit Valiant in 2 months, but that's a lot of time commitment. Now, most thing is how many hours you're playing. Like if I play 2 hours a day, as a value, even like 90 minutes, an hour and a half a day for 2 months, I can definitely hit Valiant. But you're talking about for new players, yeah, that's not 2 months is not even realistic, for new players. Unless they're playing like 3 hours a day, I could definitely see a new player becoming Valiant in 2 months. That's about what, 180 hours? Yeah, 108 hours of gameplay. Maybe like 2 hours. That's probably the very low end. 2 hours a day for 2 months. 120 hours of gameplay. I could see that, sure. So you mean the average vampire? Because pretty sure average MSC player is probably around Thronebreaker Battle Paragon level still. A lot of people stuck around and they're let their accounts chill at that level. I can understand that because the skill level is so much, and a lot of them are playing Battlegrounds, so and they're just not progressing in the game because you're not doing story quests, so you can't really progress if you're not doing story quests, and you want to rank up your champion as high as possible. I've been saying that all the time. I know MSD mentioned it in the video that complete Explore Act 5. Well, you have no choice. You have to complete Act 5 at least once. But Explore Act 5, but that takes so long to do, okay? It really depends on your ranked champions and your AI, the champions you have, your skill level, of course. So it can take minimum 20 hours to explore Act 5 100%, anywhere from 20 to 40 hours. So it basically it can take longer to explore Act 5 than MSD becoming Valiant. So it's really just just not really it does take a long time. Now I mean the average player that actually goes for Valiant, I've done it myself. I have seen a bunch of other players get to Valiant with only a month or two. Of course there are some people do chill on their account, which is what I used to do. So I'm not even sure what he meant by that. I'm assuming like not a new account, I mean a new account challenge, but I'm assuming he's not talking about a new player, more like the average player like myself who wants to start a new account. So really, that's it. Very misleading. I think another thing. What else? Let's see. Uh, Morally, I just think. Let's look at this one. This has come from Allison Edit. Quick progression early on data shows will more likely invest in the game. What's sad is that content is supposed to train you for the end game content. Pretty much feel like it's about 10 to 15% of the entire base that can do the content, like Necropolis, Labyrinth, and others. I feel like Kabam loses too many players because they just aren't as good as the 50 YouTubers you see online. Uh, that makes a lot of sense for this guy to say. Like, most people are not as good as the people you see in social media. That's just a fact. They're like the top 1%. So it's very misleading when you watch people on social media. I can understand why this person is saying that. Uh, it just makes sense. Of course, Kabam is the company. They want to make money. So they want to make the progression as fast as possible for early players. So the only question is how long should it take to get to the next level? And I don't know. Perhaps when we get to that title, when Kabam announces it, we're gonna, we can talk more about it. But by the time they announce it, they already have plans of how many champions need to be ranked. So it's very good to talk about it now. I don't think it's gonna happen this year. It just makes sense. It's probably gonna happen. It could happen this year, but very unlikely. Through Vancouver event, same thing with 7-star rank 4. What happened this year or even last year? People already had 7-star rank 4 by the banquet event. So I'm not sure. I think it's probably going to be obviously 7-star rank 5 for the next progression. The only question is how hard it's going to be. So that's it. Thank you.